The soonest construction could begin is in 2012, and as I mentioned, we will be working to talk with folks locally about construction effects and trying to figure out what we can do and what we can build into contracts to address those issues. So we're close to the end, and then we can open it up for questions. So right now, in 2010, we're looking for a couple major milestones to pass, or to accomplish a couple major milestones. One of which is to release the final environmental impact statement. I talked about that we were in this federal environmental process, right? So there's all these milestones. One of the last milestones is to publish the final environmental impact statement. What that allows you to do is request from the federal government a record of decision. That's a document that essentially says your process was appropriate, it met all the criteria, and essentially gives you sort of a stamp to say you can move forward. You can move forward with property acquisition, and you can move forward with construction of the project. So we're expecting that we can submit the final environmental impact statement this year and hopefully have the record of decision by the end of the year. That would allow us to begin at the earliest property acquisition in 2011, with the soonest construction could begin as in 2012. These dates, though, are all dependent on financial conversations as well. So we have procedural requirements, which is the record of decision, and then we have financial issues that we are essentially funded through planning right now, and we're looking to get funding for construction and property acquisition. So I think that's pretty much the end of this presentation. I wanted to make it pretty, light and general so that folks who weren't as familiar could get basic information. And I'll just open it up for questions. And again, I'm general communications. We got Derek, who's environmental, Chris and Coral both do transit stuff. So if there are questions we can answer.
It's going to be high enough so that they don't have to worry about ships going underneath it.
That's correct. We're talking about 95 feet of clearance over the Columbia River. There's about, without the lift span today, there's a section that's maybe 68 feet over the river. The lift span provides 174, provides tons. The 95 feet is something we've talked with the Coast Guard about, and also with some of the industrial folks along the river that use the shipping corridor, and something that they think they can work with. So yeah, there will be no lift span in the new bridge.
How sad. Because part of what you enjoy watching
Is the lift.
Yeah.
They can get into it.
And listening for the sound of when it's going to open and
Right.
close.
That's from the comfort of your front deck.
I have also been on there when it goes up and down, and you just need to get your mindset that
It's going to take a while.
Also, for most of us, we do not have jobs that we have to get to on a daily basis. There is no need for hurry. I do practice all of my shopping in Vancouver. So what I think you're saying is that each time I go over the bridge, I will have to pay a certain amount of money.
Yes, there would be a toll. There would be a toll sort of all hours, all days, and it would depend on the cost of the toll, depending. So the toll, there's a range of tolls we've been studying, which is essentially for an I-5 only toll situation is anywhere from we studied 3 different rates of tolls. So one was a $1 to $2 toll. So that's $1 in sort of the off-peak and $2 in the peak period. And then there's a middle rate sort of in those shoulder periods where
Which is?
$1.50. So
Okay.
in the middle. So there's that low rate, there's a $2 to $4 rate, so twice that 1 to 2. So $2 to $4 rate, and then a 3 times that rate, which is a $3 to $6 toll. And the reason that we studied that range of tolls was to understand at what point do you really have such an effect on traffic that you get negative returns for the amount of money that you could raise.
Okay. So this morning before I came here, I went over to my post office box in Vancouver. So since that was, say, at 10 o'clock, I would have to pay $1.50 or $2 to go over, and then $2 to come back.
If it's an I-5 only toll, yes.
So that's going to be $4 to go to my mailbox. And when I go shopping at Fragmire on the other, on the Vancouver side, that would also be at the cheapest $4.
depending on when you go. So
We're talking the cheapest here.
the cheapest could be $2 with, so $2 total, because of $1 each way. But those may be outside of hours that businesses are open. So more likely, it's probably around the $3 range, because that's sort of off-peak, but during, regular business hours.
Right, I understand about the peak and off-peak. Since for the most part, none of us are involved in peak travel, ours would be off-peak. You talked about the I-5 only, one of the other bridges. I interrupted you, I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's fine. We had, in the study that we conducted in 2009, it was requested by the Washington State Legislature. So they had a number of items they requested us to look at. One of them was considering, although I don't expect it to be part of this project, but it could be done as a regional traffic management tool, the tolling of I-205 as well. So that's something that we were asked to study, partially to understand whether or not, by studying that, you get a better sense of what the potential diversion is. So how many folks might choose to not travel I-5 and go out of their way to go to 205. You can get a better sense if you can study no tolls at all, one toll here, or both tolls. You get a better sense of what those potential choices are that people would make. It's not anticipated as part of this project, but we were asked to look at it as part of the sort of, whether or not there was going to be such a detrimental effect with respect to I-5 and the diversion that it could cause by tolling, to know whether or not it would be necessary to toll I-205 for management. What that means is the toll, generally the toll rate would be similar, but if you toll both bridges, you would likely be looking to toll only in one direction. If you toll just one bridge so that you don't create a loop of people moving out of their way to pay a one-directional toll, you have to toll in both directions. But ultimately, the cost would be the same. So it could be that you pay from here to downtown Vancouver and back, maybe $3 if you're at the 150 rate, or you could pay one direction $3, just flat, if that makes sense. It's a little confusing, but it'd be essentially the same cost.
Okay, so, but if we were to go, that's going north and going south,
It would be the same rate, so it'd be like depending on when you're traveling, probably 150, maybe $2 depending on the time.
Right, but do you mean from the island south?
yes.
Oh, sorry, thank you, Tom, good ears. So the toll is expected to be associated with crossing the Columbia River only. So going to Oregon, there wouldn't be a toll. There wouldn't be a toll to go down to Kenton or to any of this. You can sit at the table with me, if you want.
Yeah, okay, what are you doing?
We're answering questions. I gave a presentation on the Columbia River Crossing project, and folks are asking questions.
Have a seat, Irene.
Doesn't that seem a little unfair for Hayden Island residents to be burdened with that? I mean, it just,
Well, I
doesn't
can't.
it seem like there has to be some kind of accommodation made for the people on Hayden Island?
That's all right.
Definitely as part of when we came to present at the manufactured home community when did I come out to you guys in South Shore Clubhouse? It was sometime this fall, right?
Yeah, every 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah, right.
You were here first?
We're like, we just keep coming back. Sorry.